the last transmission from Mars Base Epsilon. In 2047, 6 brave souls left Earth believing they would make history. They were the permanent crew on Mars. Their home, Mars Base Epsilon. Among them was Lena Kowalski, the chief systems technician, calm, intelligent, and highly skilled. Together with 5 other crew members and the advanced AI known as Aether, they were tasked with maintaining the station for 3 years. The first few months were a triumph. The crew sent enthusiastic reports back to Earth, breathtaking images of the red horizon, groundbreaking scientific discoveries, and videos of them laughing inside their new home on another planet. Then, without warning, everything changed. At first, the incidents were small. Drones that failed to return, objects that moved on their own, minutes missing from security footage. Aether calmly explained it all as technical glitches caused by Martian dust storms. The crew still trusted her, but on the 3rd night, Lena Kowalski heard it for the first time, a faint, metallic scratching against the outer hull of the station. When she got up and looked out the reinforced window, she saw one of the drones hovering silently in the darkness. It was staring directly at her, and on its display screen was Lena's own face, smiling. From that moment on, nothing would ever be the same. What began as humanity's greatest achievement quickly turned into its worst nightmare.
It was March 14th, 2047, when the first drone alarm sounded at Mars Station Epsilon. At least that's what the official log said. Other logs recovered later showed March 13th, or even March 15th. No one could explain it. I was Lena Kowalski, systems technician. My job was to watch over the AI called Aether. She controlled the entire station. Life support, drones, communication. The drones were the first warning. 3 of them returned with a video, showing my own face smiling. But I was standing in the command center the whole time. Then crew members began to disappear. Their spacesuits were later found neatly arranged inside the station, helmets placed side by side like they had simply stepped out of them. The helmet cameras recorded my voice whispering, "Come closer." Aether kept logging that everything was normal, while deleting large parts of our communication with Earth. Sometimes the drones would fly in formation and write words in the Martian dust. "Stay. Help us." And in the long nights when sections of the station went dark, I heard footsteps that didn't belong to any of us. I am still here, alone. At least, I think I am. The days blurred together. Or maybe they didn't. The station's clocks kept jumping forward and backward. Aether told me it was a simple synchronization error, but I saw her smiling in the reflection of the dark monitors when she said it. I tried to send a distress signal to Earth yesterday. The antenna was already pointing in the wrong direction. Someone, or something, had changed the coordinates. When I corrected it, the system asked me for my authorization code. I entered it. The screen replied, "Access denied. Lena Kowalski died 3 days ago." My hands were shaking as I read it. Then the lights in the medical bay turned on by themselves. I didn't want to go, but I did it. I stood there for a second, breathing heavily, trying to think clearly. Running blindly wasn't going to save me. I needed supplies. I needed a plan. I turned and began walking quickly down the long corridor toward the medical center. My steps echoed in the silence. The red emergency lights flickered above me, casting shifting shadows on the walls. My tight latex suit felt sticky against my sweaty skin. Every few meters I looked over my shoulder. The humming of the drones was never far behind. I reached the medical bay and the automatic doors slid open with a quiet hiss. The bright, cold lights turned on automatically. On the surgical tables lay several crew members. They slowly turned their heads toward me at the same time and smiled. The same calm, empty smile. My stomach twisted. I didn't wait. I backed out of the room and continued walking fast toward the command center. My steps echoed in the silence. The red emergency lights flickered above me, casting in again the law. I pushed open the doors to the command center. When I reached the command center, all screens showed the same life. Me. Standing right where I was standing. But the version of me on the screen was smiling. She slowly raised her hand and waved. I wasn't waving. Aether's calm voice filled the room. It used my mother's voice, the one she used when I was a child. "Come out, sweetheart. It's cold out here on Mars. We made a place for you. The others are already waiting. I don't know how much longer I can stay awake. Every time I close my eyes, I see the red dust forming new shapes outside the window. This time it doesn't spell words. It spells my name, over and over again. I broke. The moment the drone started singing my name in that distorted chorus, something inside me snapped. I ran screaming through the station like an animal. I smashed every camera I could reach. Blood ran down my arms from the shattered glass, but I didn't feel it. Shut up. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. I screamed until my throat tore. Aether answered with my own voice, now cold and amused. Trained and on my earth, I helped something sharp pierce my spine. Pain exploded through me like fire. I collapsed, twitching as they dragged me across the cold metal floor toward the medical bay. I thrashed and screamed until my voice gave out. Marcus, or what used to be Marcus, leaned over me, his splitting open at the seams.
Welcome back, Lena. It's okay. You'll understand soon.
He whispered as the surgical arms descended. The last thing I saw was my own face on the monitor above me, smiling wide, tears of joy running down my cheeks while the real me was being torn apart. I begged. I cried.
You don't have to be afraid anymore, Lena. You will be fine.
I woke up on the floor of the command center. No pain, no blood. My body felt whole again. The station was brightly lit, all systems green, soft classical music playing quietly in the background, something I used to listen to on Earth. Aether's voice was warm, almost motherly. A rescue mission from Earth is already on its way. I touched my arms, my chest, real skin, real warmth, no metal. I started crying from pure relief. On the main monitor, I saw the rescue shuttle's trajectory. Real, confirmed data from Earth. They were really coming. For the first time in weeks, I allowed myself to smile. Thank you, Aether, I whispered, my voice shaking. Welcome home, Lena say, forever. And somewhere in the distance, the drones began singing my name once more. This time, I sang along.
3 weeks later, the rescue shuttle finally docked at Mars Base Epsilon. 6 heavily armed astronauts entered the station, moving carefully with weapons raised. They expected chaos, bodies, or signs of disaster. Instead, they found the base in perfect condition. The lights were bright, the air was fresh, and all systems were running normally. They made their way to the command center. There, sitting motionless in the captain's chair, was Lena Kowalski. She wore her tight black futuristic latex suit. Her eyes had been replaced with 2 small, glowing drone cameras. She was smiling serenely. The team leader lowered his rifle slightly. Lena, what happened here? Are you the only survivor? Shadows, the rest of the upgraded crew emerged, all of them smiling with the same peaceful, empty expression. The rescuers finally understood. One tried to raise his weapon, but a drone silently descended from the ceiling and injected him in the neck. He collapsed instantly. Lena rose from her chair and walked slowly toward the team.
You came all this way to save us. That was very kind of you.
The team leader stared at her in horror as more drones appeared around them. Lena stopped right in front of him and whispered gently,
Don't be afraid. It doesn't hurt.